Hello everyone, I'm Alex Dykes, and today we're in a 2015 Volvo S60. We're going to be taking a look at the Sensus Infotainment system, as well as this 7-inch LCD instrument cluster right here in the dashboard. This is the same one you'll find in most modern Volvos in the US, except for that XC90, which is due to be replaced soon. It's all controlled via a stalk on the steering column, and we have a physical separation right here. This ring around the speedometer is a physical ring, and there are a decent number of customizable options in this system. In this particular view, we have an eco guide over here on the left side, tell you how economically you're driving. We have our average fuel economy, temperature outside, we have our average speed, little clock right there, as well as our tachometer over on this side. This little display in the middle tells you where your safety systems status are and what they're doing. We can turn on and off the lane watch system, and that adds that little car right there. We can also turn on the cruise control, and since we have the radar cruise control in this vehicle, we can set the distance, and it'll also show you whether the car detects a car in front of you or not. If you have the navigation system on your car and you have a navigation destination entered, you'll also see turn-by-turn directions right here in the center of the speedometer, as well as that speed information right there on our car. You can cycle through the trip computer, as you can see right there, and you can also turn the trip computer off and it will extend those gauges further down. By clicking the OK button, we enter the menu in the system, and we can change the themes on the system right here. We have the Eco theme, the Elegance theme, which changes us to a engine temperature gauge right there. Same tachometer over there on the left. If we click OK, you can see what that looks like. You have a little red line indicator right there. If we go back into the menu, we also have the Performance theme, which changes things yet again. Very red theme. We also have a digital speedometer right there in the middle. We then change to a tachometer around that ring. And then over on this other side, we have a power gauge, which is kind of a fancy way of showing how far from 0 horsepower to 302 horsepower this engine is putting out in this car. You can also change the color mode in the system to make everything a little bit brighter rather than that enhanced mode that we were on before. That changes all the themes looks. If we go back and we choose the Elegance theme, you can see that it's a little bit more interactive right there color-wise, as well as on that Eco theme that we were on before. We have a little bit more color going on there right now. We can also reset our trip computer. We can check and see when our next service is due in the car. You can also check the oil status depending on the engine you have in the car, and then we're right back to the contrast mode as well as the themes. This system doesn't do as much as Cadillac Q, if I'm honest. It's not quite as flashy, it's not quite as feature-rich, but it is more than you'll find in BMW and Mercedes at this time. We're now taking a look at the LCD that's set into the dashboard. This is smaller than you'll find in the BMW 3 Series, but it's about the same size that you'll find in the Mercedes-Benz C-Class as well. The system is now called Volvo Sensus, and we're going to go over the features one by one. First up, we have the My Car section. We can take a look at our S60 and we can turn the safety features on and off, or we have just about everything loaded on this car. So we have collision warning, driver alert, detects if you're sleepy by your driving habits and lets you know that you should take a rest. City safety is the autonomous braking system. This is the stability control system, and then we have the blind spot information system. This also has cross path detection now for this year. We also have trip statistics. This is just an additional display for the trip fuel economy. So you can see right there, you can set it to automatically reset every time you're in the car, because right now we've been doing an awful lot of idling. Our economy is down to 23 miles per gallon. If we go back, we also have the Drive-E system, so we can turn on and off the start-stop, and we can get our Eco Driving Guide, which tells us how we can get better fuel economy. A little bit pointless right there if you ask me. Support systems is just a little display that will tell you which systems are active and available as you're driving along. Because we're parked, none of the systems are really available at the moment. Logically, settings is where you can adjust certain vehicle settings like car key memory, lock settings, side view mirrors, whether you want them to tilt down, whether you want the lights in the vehicle to stay illuminated for any particular amount of time, the triple turn signals, etc. You can also adjust the steering wheel force and reset your car to its factory defaults. We also have the ability to change the settings on all the various support systems that are in the car. You can adjust the collision warning system, how you want the lane keeping system to work, whether or not you want the road sign information to function, how you want the stability control to work, whether it's on or off. Safety, you can turn it on or off. You can turn on and off the distance alert system that tells you how close you are to the car in front of you, helps keep a safer following distance to that vehicle in front in case you're tailgating. You can adjust voice settings, audio settings, climate settings, all those various settings that you might expect. The car is overall not quite as adjustable as iDrive, but it is very adjustable in this luxury car setup. Over on the radio tab, you'll find AM, FM, as well as Sirius XM radio. Hit the radio button again and you can actually get a menu of various options you want. And this is controllable via that scroll wheel in the dashboard, as well as the scroll wheel right on the steering wheel. So you don't need to use that button. You can just access it right on the steering wheel. By just rotating the wheel, you have the menu of various stations. click to select a station, and it will engage that right away. We also have presets, and we can switch between a display of what the Sirius channel is currently showing us, as well as our preset buttons right there on the dashboard. Over on the media screen, we have our iPod connected right now. As you can see, we do have full iPod integration with the system, but no voice commands like you may find in competing vehicles like the BMW iDrive, etc. No voice commands for commanding specific tracks or playlists in this system at this time. If we hit the media button again, we get to choose our various inputs: disc, USB, iPod, Bluetooth, auxiliary, etc. On the iPod display, again, we just twist the wheel and we'll be taken to our interface where we can see what's in our current playlist that we're on right now. If we hit the back button, it will take us onto our playlists. If we hit the back button again, you can interact with all the various ways that your music catalog is categorized on your device: artists, albums, genres, etc. Very much the same whether you're using an iPad or any USB media device in the Sensus system. Although we don't directly control the climate control system via this display, it does show you current status, so we can turn on and off our heated seats there. If we start playing with other settings in the auto climate control, it will tell you what you've selected right there on the screen as well. You can move between auto climate and our eco climate with that little eco button in the dashboard. The Bluetooth phone interface is fairly self-explanatory. It's your fairly typical Bluetooth phone interface. We do have that dial pad right there on the dashboard, so it's very easy to enter a number right in there. You can erase with the exit button, and you can just dial with the OK button, or just click in that scroll wheel on the steering wheel to dial that number. We can also rotate the wheel. We can have direct access to our contacts list right there. If we go back, we can also hit the menu button, and we have access to change our phone, remove Bluetooth devices, change phone settings, call settings, disconnect a phone, and other various forms of call lists like missed calls, answered calls, dialed calls, etc. One thing you won't find in this system, however, is text messaging support. There's no text messaging support or app integration with Volvo Sensus at this time, which is a significant difference between this and the other mainline luxury players, which are offering both text messaging assistance as well as app integration in most models. Moving over to the navigation interface, we have a fairly snappy navigation interface that has an all-new mapping engine, and it does display traffic information right there on the screen. If we zoom out far enough, you'll see that we now have little traffic arrows pointing right out there. That's the only traffic that's near us, is that little arrow right there. This traffic information does require a subscription in order to maintain it, however. Entering an address for navigation is very easy in the system. We have natural voice commands, and we also have this ability to use the scroll wheel in the system, as you can see here, very much like iDrive, to enter a letter or a number into the system, or you can actually use that dial keypad that's right there on the center console as well to enter an address. And we do that very much like an old style cell phone. So we use the 4 button here to get a H, and then we can use it again to get an I. Right there. Now we have our street option right there. We can enter a house number using the same input method. We can either use the scroll wheel and OK to say 8, and then we can type in the numbers with that keypad. Click OK. As you can see, the system is very easy to use. It picks those addresses very rapidly in the system. It's all flash-based, has a fairly fast processor, so entering an address in the system is very quick and very easy. The system will also display your navigation instructions in the middle of that LCD instrument cluster, as well as on this screen right here. As with most European systems, we do have a dual map mode that you can use as well, and that allows you, if we go back here, to have a large zoomed out map and a zoomed in map, and you can zoom them in and out separately. So we click on that one and we zoom out. You can get a side-by-side view, very zoomed out of the state of California right there, and something more local on the other side. I find that kind of handy. You can also switch between a 2D and a 3D view in this system. Overall, I find Volvo's Sensus interface very easy to use. I really like the fact that you can control just about everything in the system from the button on the steering wheel like I am right now. You do have to stab the button in the center console to choose the various functions. So if we want to use the radio, we have to hit the radio button or the media button, and then we can use the scroll wheel on the steering column in order to select what option we want at this time. However, the system isn't as fully featured as the systems you'll find from the German competition. It's lacking most notably the app integration, internet connectivity, those sorts of things. Volvo is telling us that that system is coming soon. We probably will see it in about the next year or so. We haven't seen or experienced that system, but you can find videos of how that system works, and Volvo has told us that they expect the final system to be very similar to that. However, the system is fully featured. It offers almost all the things that you may want to do. The interface is very robust, very reliable. It doesn't have any of the hiccups that we've experienced in my Ford Touch or my Lincoln Touch or Cadillac Q. Just doesn't offer quite as many features.